Yeah, you're going to have to. I've had to pick them at very late notice because the chair's not very well. So bear with me, if you would. Could we have Lorraine, please?
Yes, from Councillor Browning, Crook. Is from Borough Councillor Lambridge.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest on tonight's agenda? Thank you. So if we could approve the minutes of the council meeting that was held on the 4th of July, Appendix 1. Is everyone happy that we approve those?
Yeah.
I'd just like to add something, please. On point 47, it says that Councillor Claire Harris, in her role as Borough Councillor, agreed to contact Leicestershire County Council. I did that under the terms that the resident would contact me with some details, and I've got no email address or details for him, so.
So subsequent to the meeting, Councillor Harris did not contact Leicestershire County Council.
Well, all we can say is that we could amend that to say that she would contact the Leicestershire County Council once she'd received the information from the resident.
That's right, which I haven't done, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
happy with that?
Okay.
Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're happy that they're approved?
Just also, can I mention point 55? Has that been passed over to who it needs, because it says we were meant to be addressing that at this meeting?
Shetland Sheepdog.
Yes. So is that being handed over?
No, because they cancelled.
Oh, there we go. That's it then. So it's been
That's sorted
sorted.
out then.
Sorted. Good. The extraordinary council meeting held on the 17th of August. Again, we're asked to approve them.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
Yes,
Just bear with
everyone
me. I
happy
think
with that?
Have you got? No, we're good on that one.
Now, we move on to the committee minutes, and just to remind everyone, this is to receive the minutes. So the committee structure is that we meet as committees. It helps cut down the business in the main meeting.
Yeah.
So receive the minutes of the Policy and Resources meeting held on the 20th of July.
I just have one point to make on that. There's a spelling mistake on point 17. It says election instead of election. That's all.
Oh, you're keen.
Getting good at this scrutiny thing, I tell you.
So the minutes approved. Yes. And then to resolve any recommendations from the Policy and Resources meeting held on the 20th. Is there anything, Lorraine, you want to highlight?
There's no recommendations, because you had delegations doing all
Yeah.
matters. So it's only, we only get recommendations when you don't have delegated powers.
Thank you, because I did look at them before I came to the meeting and I couldn't see any recommendations, so I'm pleased about that. So if we could move to the public participation meeting, part of the meeting.
That's me. Hi, good evening all.
Good
Chair and parish councillors. My name's James Dunn and I'm a resident and active chair of the Markfield Retirement Village, and I'm acting chair of the Development Opposition Steering Group at that retirement village. We, the members, are extremely concerned at the lack of a neighbourhood plan. In the past, the neighbourhood plans protected our village and our residents by stopping development around the village. Notably, Owl was one which was stopped a few years ago, which would have impinged on the edge of our development. Without a current neighbourhood plan, we are exposed to speculative development on several sides. I believe that 2 such applications are already floating in the ether. We, the DOSG, request on behalf of our residents that you act as soon as possible and replace the neighbourhood plan that will protect not only ourselves, but the whole of Markfield from unwanted development. Please hear our plea. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, if you have an agenda, we do have a report from Councillor Norris, and we also have present tonight Councillor Sprayson and Councillor Gannon, who are all on behalf of the parish council involved in the neighbourhood plan. Now, we can either bring that forward, or if you would like to remain to take it at its proper place on the agenda, it's entirely up to you.
I'd like to hear what is said, because that will be shown our action, with some other issues coming from Woodmore Parish Council.
Everybody wanting to coordinate it, might be useful for the businesses to hear that.
Yes.
If you got through the agenda.
So are you happy to stay for a little while and we'll work through the agenda? Yes, because I believe you've got a report for us, Councillor Norris, is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Lovely, good. We'll do that then.
It's worth saying, Chairman, through you, that we are refreshing the neighbourhood plan,
And the neighbourhood plan is still current.
But it has lost its protection for housing.
It's current until the end of the month.
It's current until the 10th of September.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're absolutely correct, but it has lost its protection from development at midnight.
Except the refresh gives it some power.
Well, I think we'll come on to that when Lucy makes her report.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. Councillor Bedford.
Okay. Well, we've had the summer recess. There's been no formal county council meetings. A few things just to update you on. I was at still Claire's under her report, but I was at the planning committee at Hinkley 2 weeks ago for a number of applications coming in. There was one in Desford, quite a large one coming in, Gelson, and there was one in Ratby, one in Burbage, and very similar positions to Markfield, where some of them haven't got a neighbourhood plan in the first place. Ratby, for example, never ever had one. The Borough Council the planning committee, seemed quite unified on that evening. They were going to oppose or reject all of those applications based on various policy grounds. I suspect some of them will come to appeal. I suspect, preempting your report later, protections that the refreshed plan would give you will add weight to protecting the village, because if a lot of these applications do get passed on appeal, precedent is there of areas like Markfield. So I think it was set in the right direction by the Borough Council, but it just highlights the vulnerability of villages like Markfield when those protections aren't there. So it was a very interesting meeting to attend. In terms of the County Council, I've arranged a meeting with Minister Lee Rowley, who's in the Department for Levelling Up. So I'm meeting with him next week, where we will discuss a lot of different issues, including planning, but also funding of local authorities and putting the case forward that counties like ours aren't properly funded when you compare them to London boroughs and places in the south of England. So hopefully some progress we made and the minister will listen, but at least I've got a meeting with him next week to put those points across him first. And just finally, just to mention, hopefully you've received an email from me just to say that outside of my county council duties, I have been selected to stand for Parliament at the next election for me in Leicestershire. But I will continue to serve as the county councillor as I have over the last 6 years. And just by pure coincidence, the boundaries of Markfield, Stanton, Bagworth, conveniently fall into the new constituency. So a lot of the work that I'll be doing as I go around the villages is already there. So just to reiterate that I'll be probably receiving out about a bit more over the next year or so, the general election. But otherwise, I welcome any questions, Chair.
Any questions for Councillor Bedford?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, well done, yeah.
Perhaps, Peter, we could invite you to stay for a couple of items, because there's the Department for Transport application and also the Neighbourhood Development Plan. So could we invite you to stay for a little while? Would you find that useful?
Happy to stay on for those, yeah.
Yeah. So Borough report. Did Councillor Lambert send a report in? No. Down to you then, Councillor Harris.
I did send a report.
You sent
to
a
all
report.
councillors,
I have
Yeah.
read it. Very
I
good.
have read it,
I have
yeah.
read it.
That's
Yes.
all I have to say on that matter, really.
Thank you. And that will appear with the minutes, Clark, won't it? The councillor's report will appear with the minutes.
I'll slot it in.
Thank you. We then move to item 7, which is the Planning and Highways Committee, because we've had a little bit of a hiccup with the Planning and Highways Committee.
We haven't had a meeting.
No, we haven't. No, but the latest information is that Councillor Crook has contacted the clerk and he wishes to no longer be part of the Planning and Highways Committee. He's not able to give any time commitment to sitting on either of the two committees. So, Lorraine, if you could just explain, that does leave us in a little bit of difficulty with quorums.
Yes.
Just to remind everybody, so at the moment, Barry, David, Lucy is on the committee, and Stuart. We could really do, I think, with 2 more.
I'll jump on board. I'll jump on board with it.
And
I've got to learn, obviously, but, you know,
I
can
think
only learn by being
one may be
positive,
the best we
can't
can do this evening.
Yeah, that's fine, but at
Yes.
least we've got one and then we can.
And the next meeting, as scheduled, is the 12th of September. So,
12th of
Could
September.
I just come in there? The problem with that is we haven't got the time to get the agenda out and form the access to information requirements.
in which case it won't be the 12th of September.
The next meeting, we can either defer it to a future date in September, or we can just skip September and go to October, and the October meeting would be,
That's the best bet, I think.
bear with me, the October meeting would be the 10th.
That's just too bad. You just ain't got, can't do that.
I would say it needs to be in September, to be honest.
I
Can we
agree.
not bring it as an
I agree with
extraordinary?
Lucy.
Only because we're going to miss this
You
deadline.
just got to get the you got to get the
So can we do it
documents
on
out
the
in time.
19th of September? Or...
So those members, can you do the 19th?
What day is that?
It's a Tuesday. David, can you do the 19th?
This year,
Oh, yes, it clashes with, well, so you can't have Barry, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. If it clashes with another major thing in the village, we shouldn't do that.
No,
Local history.
I'm going to struggle then, aren't
What about the following week, Lucy?
Well, the following Tuesday, on the 26th, we've got
I?
PNR.
PNR in the morning.
Okay.
But there's nothing in the evening.
No.
Yeah, well,
Because I'm slightly preempting, Lucy. Would it be that your intention is that the neighbourhood plan sits under
we
this
might do it
meeting
in
as
the
well?
same thing, Yeah,
Yeah.
That would be
that would
sensible,
make sense.
yes.
yeah,
So should we do the 26th?
yeah. Can you do
26th.
26?
7 o'clock here. Yeah,
7:30 or 7? Either?
either or.
So what are we saying, that
26th,
What
might as
time?
well start at 7,
Might
mightn't
as
you?
well.
Would you rather start
7's fine.
early?
Yeah.
Yes?
7 o'clock.
I just need to check that Sharon is available because I am not, I'm on holiday.
Mm.
So I just need to check that somebody who can park it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Because
Because we've got one clerk on holiday and we've got an RFO as well that's working part-time.
Right.
So that's the difficulty.
how many days is it? that you need?
Sorry,
How many days do you need the?
Notice.
No.
7.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we need to make sure that I'll talk to Sharon when she's back on Monday. If she's available, there isn't an issue, but if she isn't, I might have to come back to her.
Okay.
Okay. The Department for Transport application, now we've got the paperwork. This was quite interesting because I picked it up in the Mercury, which said that all the information was available at Markfield Library, which came as quite a surprise to the trustees of Markfield Library.
I was looking for it.
Yes, but I understand we've now got it. What I need to ask people is, councillors is, are we required to do anything?
Wrong thoughts.
Have to say.
Well,
We need to do it.
What were you thinking that we should do?
Well, I've read the paperwork. I'm
Can
just
somebody clarify what the word stopped up means?
Stop using.
stop using at the
So the
moment.
existing road that's there would be stopped,
Yes.
and the new one.
Yes.
I agree
Peter,
with it.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You're the county
Is
councillor.
that long term? Or is that long term?
No, it's long term.
It's
Long
a long
term.
term, not
Yes.
Oh,
provisional.
right.
Yeah,
It's not
forever.
temporary. It's not
Forever.
temporary
All right.
order. Yeah.
Forever.
I believe this is the first step
Yeah.
in that road closure. Is that right,
For the
David?
quarry extension.
Because they're going to quarry under it, so there can't
Well,
be a road over
they
it.
won't quarry under it, they'll
Oh,
quarry
they'll quarry it.
on that field next to
It'll
the
be a hole.
DM1.
And the intention is to build a new road. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
As per the maps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume they've already got all the planning permission required to do all this, have they? Or is this what they're asking?
Yes, the planning permission's been passed for the extension of the quarry, hasn't it?
The outlet, yeah.
Yes. This is really the preserve of the Planning and Highways Committee.
Glad I'm not on it. I didn't understand the maps.
So I'm prepared for this one, so I'm quite stuck with it.
It's all right, I like putting you on the spot.
Do we know how long it's going to
I was
take
going to
to
say,
do
I
this
think
road?
it's more disruption, isn't it?
This is your
Yeah.
opportunity as a parish council to object.
And how long have you got to either object or...
Objections should be received on midnight on the 26th of September.
And when are we having Planning and Highways?
26.
Oh, well, there's time after that then, if you get going at 7 o'clock.
Straight in.
Do you think, being serious for a moment, that we could write to say there is going to be a meeting of Planning and Highways of Markfield Parish Council on the 26th? Could we please have an extension of a week? What do you think?
I think so.
I think that.
Does that make sense?
Could ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't give you an extension, we can still bang it in at
Yeah.
Yes.
the midnight on the 26th. So do
Yes.
you want to refer it to planning and highways?
Yes, please, if everyone's in agreement, and then they can scrutinise it.
Okay.
Yes,
Good luck.
yes.
I am kind of.
No one can say, is there, Chair? Really?
No, no, but I don't want to prejudge it, David.
I think it's just what disruption it's going to create.
Yeah, I think it's more the disruption at the end of the day.
That's the only sort of topic that you're going to get from residents, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
how long is it going on for, and how
Yes.
much mess and disruption is it going to cause?
There we go.
There we go. That's one
Okay.
for you guys.
So item 9, now the neighbourhood development plan, and we've all been looking forward to this, Lucy.
No pressure, Lucy.
Right. So just to explain, the reason that obviously the neighbourhood plan is being delayed is because there was something done by Hinkley and Bosworth at the end of last year where they were considering extending the 2-year deadline to a 5-year deadline. But nothing's come from that, so we know that we still have to do it within 2 years. So we're out of date, obviously. We then had to await the funding availability to come on, and that was only the last month, I think, that we could actually apply for funding. So there was all these delays that unfortunately have, cost us time. But we are working now with the planning consultant, and he's planning to get the first draft of the neighbourhood plan ready by 1st of October. Unfortunately, there is quite a lot of delays with every step of doing this. We have to do some screening, we have to have consultations, we have to have it reviewed by Hinkley and Bosworth and an independent reviewer. And the timeline really is not going to be until early 2024 before it is a made plan. So we need to be aware of it really, that it's not going to give us any protection until then. But hopefully when we've got a draft one in place, it should help with everything. And obviously we can still object to every planning application that comes up as you would normally. So really that is the update. It's being worked on, but everything unfortunately takes a lot of time. Everything involved with it is just time. But we're hoping to be at the stage where we're at consultation with the village at the beginning of January, or possibly earlier, but with the Christmas period, it's looking like it's going to be January.
Someone's on a different aspect, slightly different aspect of this.
Yeah.
I know we're up against a deadline for the plan, and I know that Colin Wilkinson has produced an excellent analysis of what the extra housing would be
Yeah.
if we're going to fully comply that neighbourhood plan. I also remember when we finished the previous neighbourhood plan, the one in force at the moment, Hinkley and Bosworth said we'd taken on so much development in this parish that they wouldn't be asking us to provide any more housing. Now, is it just possible that we can go back to Hinkley and Bosworth and say, although take a proportion of the overspill from Leicester City Council, is it just possible you can say we've had enough share already, and we can put the existing neighbourhood plan back to them.
Well, the other thing as well, because the Hinkley and Bosworth local plan is still not done, and part of what their problem is they're arguing with Leicester City Council and whether they need to even take these extra
Yes.
houses.
So we don't even know
We,
if you have to make this provision in, so
But
is
we-
it possible to
But
just-
the
can't-
advice is we would be
we have to,
foolish
yeah.
not to.
so we have to keep going as if we do have
Mm.
it.
Yes.
And the housing allocation has increased as
Yes.
well, without Leicester City.
Okay, going a little bit further, we're talking about 2042, and that means we can look forward to another 9 neighbourhood plans. And that's right.
Yeah.
And
Thanks, Barry.
in that period, if each time we're asked to increase housing, by the amount that's already come through, it'd be slow incremental urbanisation. We'd have to take on board, and would be a potential of perhaps another 1,000 houses. We don't know, and we just don't know. All I'm saying, just be alert to the fact, as we're doing incremental neighbourhood plans, but not automatically committing ourselves to going every time to do more housing in the village. It's already fully committed.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
he's-
unfortunately,
Fair comment.
yeah,
Yes.
not that way.
But the clear, I can see where you're going with it. No, you don't actually have to refresh a neighbourhood plan at all. You don't have to. But I think all the indications to us, and it was the planning consultant who said to us that we would be foolish at this time not to.
Yes.
And interestingly, again, picked up from the newspaper, which is, and I think this is, if you'll forgive me, a question for Councillor Harris and Councillor Lambert as well, which is, has Hinkley and Bosworth signed up to the statement of common ground? Because I don't think they have. They have not yet agreed to take the housing from Leicester.
No, they haven't.
So,
There's only half.
so
So
even
far,
if
the
it's,
house.
if we make a provision for housing for Leicester, even though it's not.
Well, actually, Harborough hasn't, David. Harborough is the one who's not doing it.
Well, they had a vote, I understand. They had a vote and approved
I think there was a discussion yesterday in Harbour.
yesterday, yeah, that they've approved the extra allocation from Leicester City. Basically go round Oadby and Wigston.
What to say.
I don't know.
I mean, I think what you're saying is a question we should ask: do we need to put in what's covered the amount of housing that we were supposed to be having, and now they put more on us? And why do we have to do it again?
As long as it's in
Well,
the plan, it's pretty well certain that someone else is going to
Yes,
utilise what's in there.
that's right.
Are you suggesting just to use the existing name?
Well, no, I think we should ask Hinkley and Bosworth, why do we have to do more?
Well, I think Lucy,
But
I think Lucy
there are
has.
changes,
As
there
you
are
said.
other changes, not just the housing allocation.
The reason that so if we make a change to the neighbourhood plan and it's not considerable, we
Mhm.
wouldn't need a referendum, but if we're putting new housing allocations in, we do. But the new housing allocation is basically a percentage of, so everybody gets a percentage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
it's well thought out.
yeah,
Mm.
so it's just, the increased population of the country, everyone's gonna have a percentage of housing, aren't they?
It's even possible that said Markfield's takes such tremendous amounts of
Yeah.
housing within the last neighbourhood plan. We wouldn't be expected to take any more.
But we didn't take more than our share.
Share.
Our share, yeah.
Yeah.
And our share has been disproportionate compared to other.
Actually, that's not quite true.
Yeah.
No, that's not true, Barry. No, no, it
No,
isn't.
It's all based on the percentage of what was
Yeah.
already there to start with.
But let's just be aware of this incremental. These other 9 neighbourhood plan revisions to look forward to,
Well,
and what it could contribute.
I think you make a good point, but I think we need to concentrate on the first one before we start stressing about the 2, 3, 4, 5 and
I
6.
think it looks like that
I
we're
think
going to have
Peter
to do
wants
2,
to-
3, 4,
David,
5.
just on David's point. Yeah, so Harbour will count on the 18th when they're going to vote in there.
Yeah.
So I think the administration, they're planning to, they're looking to bring a motion to
It went to cabinet and they approved it.
State will come around next week in September.
Yeah,
So it's likely, I imagine, to be passed
yes.
by VAT, which would then be is now by, I suppose.
I think it still brings us back to we are where we are.
I think we still need to.
We still need to refresh the neighbourhood plan.
I think
It'd be a constant thing all the time, isn't it? Even though this is a
Yeah.
full-time job. If you'd,
Yeah.
it'd be a full-time job to try to keep on top
Yeah.
of it all the time now.
And I'm not saying it will, but don't forget there is the consultation that's just taken place. I'm not saying that things will happen, but there is consultation underway on the national planning framework.
Yeah.
To be fair to planners, they don't know whether they're coming and going because of constant changes.
Yeah.
But I think David's point is correct. I think the language needs to be, we are refreshing our neighbourhood plan because in light of the housing allocation, we think we're going to have to take from Leicester. I mean, if we don't have to take it in the end, then that's great, but we plan for it. And then if housing development comes in, we can at least now, at long last, we can demonstrate a direction of travel.
Yeah,
I think that has to
And
be the
we also-
narrative.
Yes, I go.
yeah, that's
Can
cool.
we
Yeah,
also ask Peter if he can get contact with Michael Gove and see where the extension to neighbourhood plans are? Because his discussion was moving them from 2 to 5
Yes.
years.
And
Which
our-
would mean our neighbourhood plan would then be live.
That was
for
our
another
get out of
3
jail
years.
card.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
within your new role, maybe you can get him to go.
I was going to say, it's
But
Luke
Luke's
Evans.
dealing,
Because he doesn't
Luke's
listen to
dealing with
anyone
that.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, no, so,
Luke Evans is
I mean,
dealing.
Luke's dealing with it.
So, I mean, mine's.
Yeah.
I'll raise it.
Yeah.
Give me an answer, rather than-
Just need clarity as to whether they're going to do it or not.
Yeah,
If they're
maybe,
not, let us know. And I guess the other thing is, the delay in funding until September,
Yeah, that's not helpful.
that hasn't helped us at all.
But actually,
And again,
that's
that
not
was
delayed
delayed.
us, that's not delayed us because Colin, our planning consultant doesn't get paid till the end, so it was irrelevant.
Yeah, but it was still, we still have to underwrite.
But we would have still had to pay it anyway.
We-
Yeah,
when
but we,
got
Right,
the
so
we
now-
funding.
accepted
as a
though that we were going to pay it.
Yeah,
It wasn't anything that delayed the neighbourhood plan.
it was something that needed doing, so it didn't matter whether
I
we had the
beg to
funding or
differ.
not.
Well, I don't know what council thinks. Do you think it delayed the neighbourhood plan?
Not if it always was done like that anyway. You got the payment later. I don't.
It was never brought up that it was being delayed, so no, I don't think so. No, I mean,
Perhaps it needs some clarity. Still on it.
Well, the point is we've got it.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
it still needs
Has
to
the
be doing.
application gone in, Lucy?
Oh, no, it's not actually.
Right.
But it's almost ready.
Good, good, good.
So the application is going in for funding. Can I just ask, is there anything we can do to help? Because
It's
this
kind
is
of in,
the hot topic of conversation,
yes.
and I think it's going to remain that way until.
I think, so the planning consultant is doing his bit now.
That's good.
And then we then have to wait for something called an SEA screening. So after that, it then comes to the parish council. So it might be then that we could do some more work on it.
Mm.
I think you can start
Yeah.
pulling us
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
help.
And the SEA is the environmental screening, isn't it? Which is
strategic
mental,
environmental assessment.
which has now been brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
other question is,
Yeah.
do Hinkley know
Yes.
where we're at as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're up to
Did they
date.
give you an estimated time for that essay?
It depends who does it. So if you can bother to do it, it can take a while, but you can get someone independent to do it, which may be quicker. But we need to see when we've done the plan what stage it's at before we know.
Right, okay.
But it'd be about a month delay.
Right.
And of course, our strategic plan of our plan being aligned with the Hinkley and Bosworth local plan never happened. If that had happened, we'd have been home and dry.
What's this then? I don't know.
The local plan, because of the timing of our plan and what should have been the timing of Hinkley and Bosworth's
Yeah.
local plan, we should have dovetailed together very
So it should be
nicely,
at the same time, yeah.
but it didn't happen.
Yes.
But we are where we are.
Yeah.
What I'm pleased about is that at long
we're
last,
making progress.
we're
aren't
making
something,
progress.
we? Yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
all right.
And
Yeah.
I think I speak on behalf of everyone. If you know, whatever you need, not that I don't know much about it, but whatever we can do.
Lucy,
You know,
can I just ask, because
It's a
I've been
damn
approached by
complex
It
some of,
is, yeah, it's
It
horrible,
is.
yeah.
sorry, I'm talking over you. I've also been approached by several of your group, that's
Okay.
people outside of parish councillors who are on the working group, but are you going to get in touch with them?
Yeah,
Because
so
they don't
we-
really know what's
I
happening.
think we probably invite them to that planning meeting, the next planning meeting, and just do it all as one thing perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
You'll have to have, just to point out, you'll kind of have to have your planning and highways and then followed by your neighbourhood plan meeting. Do you agree, David? Because you're going to have separate minutes.
Yeah.
And things like that, because you're going to have to produce those for the examiner.
Yes.
So that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
But you know, they'll either come and sit through planning and highways, or they'll come along for the second part of it. You've got the names, haven't you?
Yes.
You've got the names. So it looks as if at long last we're starting to get underway,
Good, thank you very much.
and we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed that we've got a direction of travel. And if speculative planning applications come in,
Get the whip out.
we'll have to deal with them.
Okay, thanks very much.
Does that help?
Yes, it does, yes, yeah. Just came along to help.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You've got a bit of confidence in what we're trying to do, isn't it?
Yes, there is another little bit on this, which Barry's got quite heavily involved in, if he wants to explain it. By all means, stay for it.
Right, well, the actual item here, it says to consider supporting Baldwin Gate Parish Council's campaign to emphasise democratic engagement required in making neighbourhood plan development plans by writing to our MP. Now, we've already written to our MP.
Twice.
Our MP
Many
has written
times.
to the Secretary of State for, what's it called?
Levelling up.
Levelling up and housing,
Mr. Go.
who turned round and said, well, I've considered this, and unless it's in the public interest, we won't consider it. And it wasn't considered to be in the public interest, even though in this case it was an adjacent borough putting the entire output of its village into Markville Parish by a single access route. We thought there should be public interest there, but it hit a brick wall. Now, what has happened is that Baldwin Gate Parish Council, they're part of Whitmore Parish Council near Stoke-on-Trent, and they've only got as far as suggesting they write to their MP. But we know what's a bit down the line there. We're ahead of them, and they're asking for assistance from other parish councils. Are you having the same problems? We are, but in this case, writing to the MP may, okay, they can go through that route, but it may not produce the results they want. But is there a case for the parish council nationally getting together to put some joint representations through in the way that neighbourhood plans are being treated by the government inspector? Okay, a lot of legal arguments that go in it, but a joint approach might have a bit more impact than individuals trying to go through the same circuit.
National Association of Local Councils.
Yeah, that'd be the route.
That's your route.
That's not what I do.
I'm happy for you to take that
So
on,
that
Barry.
Yeah, if you
Yes.
want.
I'm happy for you to.
They're waiting for a feedback. So are we agreed in principle? In principle,
We're on board.
We're right, yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
So
Strength in numbers.
National Association. of
Local councils.
Mm.
You have to do it through your county borough.
Yes, you'd have to do it through the local association.
and who's their contact?
LRALC.
See. LRALC Jake Atkinson.
He's the Leicestershire one, but he meets quarterly, I think, with.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if the work on it isn't already underway.
They will be, yes. Obviously, people start to be aware of that. Except what we're doing, that they will make correspondence representatives to the local authorities. And they might get some action.
Could also do it through parish forums, couldn't you?
We don't discuss planning matters at the parish forum, David. It's all climate control.
biodiversity.
They don't put planning on the agenda for the parish forum because apparently it provokes too much debate.
It probably does.
Is that correct, Mrs
Make it up,
Davis?
couldn't you?
Talking about it then.
So we'll keep going forward.
Yeah.
So are
Thank
you
you.
going to do that? Are you going to?
Yes.
I'm happy for Barry to
Yeah.
take that on.
Thank you. I thought
Thank
you'd like to
you.
stay for that. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I will be surprised if they're not already
On board
dealing
now.
with it.
I think there was some issue, wasn't there, about some panel appeal recently where one of the inspectors totally disregarded the
Neighbourhood plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
I think it's happening all over, isn't it? It's happening all over the UK, and I think if you're going to fight it, as you say, strength in numbers come together
Mm.
nationally, and if there's something you can do together, then do it together.
Let's get on board it, yeah.
Mm.
Anything to fight them off.
Item 10, trees, to approve the tree works on the priority 2 schedule. Did we discuss this on policy resources?
We did, and we agreed,
Something.
if you remember,
We didn't know which ones from 2 had become 1, did we?
well, what we dealt with at P&R was that we agreed to take the priority ones because we had the money in the budget to do those. We didn't necessarily have the money in the budget to do the priority 2 trees,
Okay.
although some of the priority 2 trees have now become priority 1 trees.
Yeah.
Because of the delay, because originally, as you remember, back last year, when we talked about the budget, we put in the budget for 23-24 for priority 1 and priority 2 trees, and then for the following years, we were gonna do 3 and 4. And of course, you know what happened with the budget.
The budget got
and
eaten.
We took that money out, so, we agreed at P&R that we had enough money to do the priority 1s, but the priority 2s would have to wait, but we've now got to the point where we've got.
Priority
2s
twos need
become
doing.
priority 1.
Do we need
So-
to ask the question, how many are in priority 1 now and what that's going to cost us? And can we get an answer fairly quick on that? For the other trees, priority 1.
For the priority 1 trees, we agreed, the priority 2s.
But how many of the 2s are
Have
now
now
in
become
1?
1, yeah.
That's what I'm asking. You
Well,
know.
presumably 7,600.
No, that's for phase
Yeah,
2, that's priority 2,
Two.
but what Klaus is saying is some of those priority 2s have now become priority 1s, but it might only be
2 or 3, I
2
don't
or
know.
3 or
Well,
10
we
or.
certainly know that 2 are, don't we, because we've been asked to deal with them.
Mm.
One of them is in the cemetery, and
Yeah.
one of them is on the green.
So have you found anywhere in the budget for any estimate?
Well, there may be
Okay.
a bit of wriggle room.
So I guess what Lucy's asking is, can we
we
afford to
afford
do
it?
them?
Actually, can I say this, and I don't think you can afford not to.
Not 2, that's
That's
the
the
Because
problem.
you've got to
Compromise,
the
then.
point now where you're gonna be, you're
We're gonna be chasing our tails, aren't
You
we?
get economies of scale with this bit, with doing all of the trees at the same time. If you're gonna piecemeal, you're gonna get.
We're going to chase our tail all the time, aren't we?
Yeah. So I think what we're trying to say is, I think you have to bite the bullet.
Right, we have to do what we do and hope next year. that
Yeah,
they're
and then
gonna
when
be
you come to the budget next,
Yeah.
which will be coming sort of September, October
September.
time, to put the money back in for the priority, the trees
Yeah.
that are now 3 and 4.
So is council happy to approve?
Have we got the money? Have we got the money
It'll
to?
appear.
We will find the money,
It'll be
that's
found.
fine.
I think we've got no option, we've got to, yeah.
We're going to do both, 1 and 2.
We've already
One
agreed,
one
one's
has
already been done.
Right.
approved.
So we just include the 2 together.
We've got to find the money.
Do that or not.
She's saying, "Not the money, do it."
Mm,
Yeah.
I think
exactly.
we've got to do
Do
it
it.
rather than.
All in
separate.
favour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thanks very much for that.
Thank you. The D-Day 80 beacon, I think is it something
It's for the
so many
D-Day.
years after D-Day in
It is
2024?
24.
Are we going to have a beacon? And if we have a beacon, I think we need to shut the door actually, madam,
Yeah, I don't like
because,
daddy long legs.
no, I need to set the alarms off later.
Well,
If we have daddy long legs.
Would Hill Hole be the most obvious place?
Ah, now Hill Hole's a problem.
So we had
We've got a
one,
beacon.
we had one at Hill
We've
Hole,
got a beacon.
we had one at
We've
Hill
got
Hole.
a beacon.
We've got a beacon, it's in the chapel.
It's not a very good
It's
one,
what?
I'll be
It's
honest.
in the chapel.
It wasn't that great.
It's a gas one.
It's,
Yes.
yeah, it's not very good.
Hill Hole presents all kinds of health and safety
Because
issues.
it was there for the.
Yes, but
Yes,
you
it
don't
was.
realise just.
You've
how
got
much-
no
The
idea.
children were walking around it, and I'm not joking, there was a 60-foot drop.
Yeah.
And there was about that much width, and the kids were walking around it,
It's
and it
not
was,
so much getting the beacon up there, it's getting gas bottles up there. I mean, poor David put his back out.
And then event management, because we have to have the proper risk assessments, we have to have it
You
cordoned
make
off.
something so easy, don't you?
Yes.
can I just interject? I don't want to say too much because it's not been properly discussed, but some of the neighbouring villages are in talks about doing something for D-Day,
Yeah,
and each village having its own celebration, and it would be great that each village had a beacon.
okay.
But it's also being pushed through HBBC, so we're trying to get them involved.
So do we have to identify a potential
I think
location
you'd need
at the
to
moment?
identify a location, and then we can go from
I think we do, I think, because.
whatever happens, we need to have
But you
a
need
place
to
for
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
But are the three villages wanting it to be visible?
They are. The intention is that you see it from Leicester. When you look
Yeah.
over this way, you can see
You
them
go to
all.
the highest
You
point.
have to take high.
Which is Hill
Which is
Hole,
Hill
which
Hole.
we can't do.
So the other question is, would a structure be possible if we put it somewhere and put it on a high structure?
Would the Wildlife Trust let you use altar stones?
To be honest, we could probably use JPF anyway, couldn't we?
Because you can see altar stones from Bradford Park. So,
I mean, I think as long as you're not having people go up there at night and you're just placing a beacon without.
Yes,
That
people
can-
round it.
I
Keep
think that
them
you
below
have to
it.
say
Yes, so that it
there.
can be seen from a
Yeah.
lower level.
Yeah, because of those dangerous implications.
I have to say, the one at Hill Hole that we had, you couldn't see it from anywhere. I couldn't see it. We went to
I
Bradgate
wasn't
Park,
here, I
and
was on holiday.
we went to Bradgate Park and you couldn't see anything over this way, so
Yeah.
you couldn't even see ours over that way. You'd probably potentially see it better on altar stones.
I'm not sure that if, as Claire said, there's these plans afoot, I don't think we can agree tonight.
Well, we're only saying potential on location, aren't we? I'm not saying definitely.
Suggestions?
Yeah? So suggestions?
Can I say,
Provisional.
I know this probably.
provisional.
Sorry, you're not a member of council.
Can it not be pointed up in a way that is shown?
That's what I said. If you had it on a high structure, you wouldn't need to necessarily go to a high point in the village. You could have it somewhere else. But again,
You wouldn't put the beacon on a high structure, our current beacon.
No, but there are artificial.
This is an artificial, isn't it?
No,
It's a
artificial as in electric. Artificial
yeah.
that look artificial is my.
Lights.
Right.
Either what we're thinking is uplights, basically, that we all
Okay.
light an uplight.
Which will
of
have to go
description.
into the budget.
Yes, but-
If you want a high point, there'll be only places.
Or altar
The only other
stones.
bit of that place would be another bit of Hill Hole that's fenced off on the ridge.
You've still got somebody who's got to take it up
Yeah.
there, and if Lorraine says,
Then you could light, if it could be put there, you could light it there, but the public wouldn't have access, they could go around and around.
yeah, I think it has to be looked at, because the idea, like what Claire's saying, is if it can be from a structure that goes up like that, at least look at the costing, then we could do it from Even Park, which then becomes quite a nice
The idea is
invitation.
the idea
for
is that each
everybody.
village has a celebration on that day.
Yeah.
So
And I like the idea of that, but it's money again, isn't it? So can we not look at the cost?
we're not discussing costs right now. We're talking about where can the
Well, we
beacon
can't,
go.
can we?
With suggestions of where the beacon can go.
And you're talking about a gas what we're saying, the gas beacon didn't go off the lights. We're talking about an electric
Yeah.
uplight, so that's a totally different animal we're talking about
We are,
now.
yeah, we're
So
definitely
we can't
talking.
So we've got to get power there, stroke generator.
But if it's an uplight, it could go anywhere, so it could go in the park.
Well, it could go anyway, yeah, but you're talking about having a generator then to power it.
No, you could use the community centre, plug it in.
It's not our community centre.
One way.
I'm sure they'll be happy if there's going to be an event on.
Especially
If
if they
there'll be an
do.
event on, I'm sure they'll be happy to contribute towards the event.
But that's the best place to put it, in a park.
I think that's, I know you're saying we're looking at location, but I think it's got to be looked at as the option of what we have before we look at location.
David?
Yeah, I think probably you still need to go back, look at Hillhole, do a risk assessment, see how, if it went up there, where the public would go. Probably have to go on the bottom level.
So we're talking
Where
about
the
gas,
fencing
gas,
is.
you're talking about a gas one there.
We'd have to look at how we get the gas up there.
According to Claire, you couldn't see it when it was there last
Yeah.
year.
Well,
You know, so
I think
so
Depends
we,
which angle you're
to be fair,
looking at.
last year we did rope it all off,
yeah, I need you.
and they,
Still went
and I
down.
have to say, the public totally ignored it.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was the worry. It was
Yeah.
with the location. I'm not joking, David. It was
Oh, no,
it was a
I know.
foot away from a drop, and as Lorraine
Yeah.
said, although we did the risk assessment and I wasn't involved with it, it was roped off. But you can tell children to stay away from the ledge as many times as you like. They're still going to run
Yeah.
around it.
But that's why
Yeah,
I
but
did
they're-
in the park or somewhere.
Last time they allowed them up on the top.
And we didn't,
If you prevent them from going up to the top, keep them
You
down
can't.
the
It's a
bottom,
public. It's a
you'd
public
have to police
space.
it, obviously.
Well, there was Jackie and Mike
Well,
Williams
obviously not
policing
very
it,
well.
but
well, the thing
well,
is,
it's very difficult to tell people
I was
not
on
to walk.
holiday.
The problem is, even though we roped it off at the level before they went up, up onto the higher level,
And people still ignored it.
and people climbed over it,
Yeah.
under it, round it. It didn't matter what we did.
Mm.
And David was on the lower level, and he was trying to please that bit. With two councillors
At the top.
at the top,
Mm.
and they just,
Everybody just wanted to be next to the beacon. Which
What
was
is the
literally-
date?
literally-
it's the 6th of June,
Yes,
2024.
on the way again. Can I make a suggestion? I still wonder whether we're in a position tonight to make the decision. We can certainly put some,
You can't.
I don't think we can, because we need to know
A bit more.
what's required of
I think
us.
so.
Mm.
We've got the budget setting coming up, and I don't want
Well,
to
we've
be
had a
doing.
we've had a short discussion about areas, haven't we? So amongst,
Yeah, yes.
We've set the ball rolling.
we've set the
We've
ball
set
rolling.
the ball
Yeah.
rolling to be
But we
thought
can't make
about.
No, we
a
can't.
solid decision.
But
Until
until
we
we
know
know
what we're doing.
what other
Absolutely.
villages want us to do and what capability we've got to
Yeah.
do it,
You
Absolutely.
could agree in principle to partake in.
yeah, which is a
in-
great
in the
idea.
celebration.
Oh, I think we've got to partake in the
I think so,
celebration.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think if you make that a formal resolution, that yes, we're going to partake.
We're doing
part in
something.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
doing
Yes.
something,
Yes.
we're looking at locations.
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Speaker, and that we're in discussions with other neighbouring parishes about what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
that
That's
okay?
fine. Yeah, I think that's a good way
It's
to.
a celebration, I
Yeah.
think.
Could the police or fire brigade or someone give us some advice on this? To say,
Well, they can give us advice, but don't be surprised these days, not necessarily the police, but the fire brigade will charge you for it. And again, when we know a few more details, if it comes off, as Claire is describing, you're going to be hosting a significant event
Mhm.
with everything that comes with it.
Mm.
Yes?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An expensive
Yes.
event, yeah.
And it may be that we have to go out to the community to help.
Others.
Yeah.
All of the businesses,
Yeah.
including England Boswell.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yes.
the other thing, judge by the date, the sun will still be out.
Hopefully.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it, on June the 6th? Yes, you're right. You have to wait a long
So?
time, don't you? Yes.
Well, that
Yeah.
hasn't happened this year, has it?
No,
It's not
that's what I
done.
said.
It's started now.
It's starting to get dark, but it is September.
Yeah.
Right, the parish walkabout. We need to do it, and another reason we need to do it is because we've got to set the budget.
Mhm.
So there's going to have to be some priorities, aren't there, for the budget, because we're not going to be able to do everything. So we need to settle on a date and a commitment that certainly the Policy and Resources Committee can make it, because they're the ones that are going to be doing the initial budget setting and recommendations, but hopefully a date when all of us can commit to.
Mhm.
We used to do it on a Saturday morning.
We did. It will be very useful for our new locum clerk because she doesn't know the patch.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get agreement, and she's fairly amenable that we do it on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So what kind of dates do people want to look at?
This Saturday?
This Saturday? It's a rugby match.
It needs doing. It's got to be done.
You need it close to the time of doing.
Mind you, it is, oh, no,
We're
the
starting the
hard,
budget.
so-
We are starting the budget at September P&R.
I know,
Saturday.
yeah.
Maybe
harder
the
job.
first Saturday of October then.
No, we're meeting as P&R at the end of September.
I mean, I want to do.
You want to walk about
So you
before
want to
then?
walk about before then.
Yes,
What about the 23rd?
When's your meeting? What
Oh,
day?
26th.
I think the 23rd.
So what's the Saturday before? What day?
Yeah.
Saturday before.
23rd.
I don't think I'll be able to do the
I don't know
23rd.
if I'm here because I've already put in an apology. I'm on holiday.
Yeah, you're
Oh.
right.
Mm.
I've got a feeling I'll be off then as well.
On September.
Mm.
I don't know this.
I mean, don't forget, Margaret, the first meeting, the P&R, the first budget, is really about looking at our wish list, isn't it?
It just,
Okay,
yes,
So
which we can take round with us, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as David suggests, then a Saturday in October.
First
that would be
Saturday in
better.
October. What date
That's
is
the
that?
7th.
7th of
7th.
October.
What time?
10? 9:30? 6 a.m?
What date did we
Oh,
say?
Barry, what time do you flew,
What
Jazz?
time did you have?
I can stay at 4 o'clock. Friday, so there's no way I'm doing it early.
What date?
Huh?
7th of
Yeah, you can
October.
nip and have
Is
it
that
and
not
come
the
back.
weekend?
Yeah,
Oh,
It might be.
10
Yeah.
o'clock?
Can we not do a Sunday afternoon?
Hey,
Sorry, I'm totally changing it there, but
you are.
I know, but Claire said this Saturday, can we not do this Sunday afternoon?
It's raining on Sunday, I believe.
Oh,
It's forecast rain on Sunday and Monday and the rest of the year.
Well, we've done walks. Well, come on, we've done walks in the pouring rain
Haven't we just?
before now,
Yeah.
haven't we? So, come on.
but
7th of
Saturday,
Someone
October,
make a
10
decision.
a.m.
Yeah,
7th of
October.
October, 10 a.m.
If we want to get it done,
7th of October will be okay, I reckon. It'll be okay in October. The first P&R meeting.
On when?
It's not going to
7th of October.
general.
We'll have the wish list from P&R
Yeah, we'll have a
Yes.
a
Will
wish list
help.
basically
with
then.
the walk.
Okay. So the 7th of October.
7th of October, 10 a.m.
Okay.
10
Well,
a.m.
meeting.
Hey, what time?
Hang on, we haven't got Councillor Norris.
No, I can't do that at 10 a.m.
11?
When do you want to do?
Afternoon.
afternoon, that's,
How long would it normally take, Margaret?
Couple of
A
hours.
couple of hours. A good couple of hours. to
Good
be-
couple of
if you're doing
hours.
it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
so I am
lunch?
going to struggle with my knees.
Like
that's the
12
thing.
or, yeah.
Okay.
12.
Saturday the
12:30 now,
7th then.
What time?
Saturday the 7th of October at
Well,
12.
12.
Is
Right.
that okay with everybody else?
Yeah.
12.
Okay, so that's the village walk.
Well,
The village.
We'll tell you where you're going. We'll tell you where we're going when we get there.
So where are we?
We will start it from the community centre.
I may struggle because of
Okay,
my osteoarthritis and my knees.
Well, what you
really
need
bad.
to do then
Bring a
is
car.
bring a car. Then
Yeah,
is
I think
if we
I might
take our
have to.
cars, we can decide who's going with who.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
what we tend to do, if we do the cemetery, we drive up there, leave a car,
Yeah.
walk.
I don't want to stop anybody else.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to walk it. It's just my knees don't let me.
Yes, but that's what we do.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. But we're not doing it on the 26th, are we?
No, we're doing it on the 7th of
7th of
October.
October.
No, not particularly, will it? Right, so that's the parish walkabout. Parish forum. Now, I did actually do a round robin about this, if you remember.
Yeah.
So I was a bit surprised that Sharon had actually put it on the agenda. So just to recap,
Yeah.
at the time, Councillor Pawley, ex-Councillor Pawley was your representative at the conference.
She didn't go, did she?
No, because I
No.
think she'd resigned by then. And then the then parish council in March didn't sub anybody. That's correct, isn't it? Lorraine went as your clerk, as the clerk. I happened to be there, but I was a guest. I obviously didn't go as a parish councillor. So Lorraine and I, between us, because we didn't want Markfield Parish Council to be embarrassed by not having taken part, we did it.
So it's dealt with.
So it's dealt with as far, if
Yeah.
everyone's happy, it's
Yeah,
dealt with.
Yeah.
Basically, they asked us what were the successes, and I'm trying to remember the post-it notes, Lorraine. The big successes were the neighbourhood plan, was a proper functioning parish council, as it was. Then the challenges, of course, we have to admit, the challenges were,
Mostly we all said money.
yeah, everybody said money, resources, the forthcoming election. So that's what we said. So if everyone's happy, I don't think we need to revisit it.
No.
No.
Is
No.
everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So that was that.
I think the minutes were all in my search word.
They were, and it was on there as well. Yes. So people
Yeah.
happy with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. So
Can I bring something up? I know I shouldn't bring something up, but
is it to be brought up
it's,
in open session?
yeah, it can be brought up.
Okay.
Leslie, who looks after the cubs and
Oh,
girl
yes,
guides and
I've got to tell
everything,
Lucy something.
she's got the other 5 trees. She planted 1 tree up at the
Lord Way?
Lawn Road
Yeah.
green. She's got 5 more from the farmer who's only going to get them on Wednesday, the 11th of October. They're asking if Parish Council can supply the stakes and straps. For the last one, I acquired stakes and straps for them from trees that died on our park. They will plant and they'll dig the holes. I've got to go up and actually show her where we would like them planted, and she knows where we're going to put them on the path, so it makes like an avenue. But they want obviously 10 posts or 5 posts and 5 plastic straps. Can we get them for them?
Sort of
I
cost.
can't nick any more because there's no other trees I can nick any off, which is what I did
What
last
sort
time.
of cost are they?
I've got no idea what it costs.
Well, they're not cheap because I use them down at the stables.
The round posts.
Posts with
they're
the-
fairly substantial things.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the trees are for free, the labour's for free, and it is to enhance the park, the green, the dog walking green. And it's the girl guides and scouts and everybody else is involved.
How
in
quickly
it.
do they need them, Klaus?
Well, we want to plant them on the 11th of October.
Right, can I make a suggestion, Ron? We'll take it to P&R,
Yes.
and in the meantime, I'll find out the cost of the.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Cooks have got them.
Yeah,
Down at
Cooks have got
Newtown,
them down.
Linford.
Yeah.
I'll find out the cost. I'll
Yeah.
bring it to
Okay.
P&R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
sure we'll be able to.
I'll
And
tell
on-
her that we'll look into it.
And on that note, before we close the main session, Leslie as well, who runs the Brownies, the same lady,
Yeah.
she said that the Brownies would be very keen if the neighbourhood planning group went to one of their evening Brownie meetings, because the Brownies would like to give some input into what they'd like to see in the village, and I
Yeah.
thought it would be nice
Yeah.
to include them.
Yes, good thing.
So I said I'd mention it tonight. We did it with the school for the first neighbourhood plan, but I think it would be rather nice in there to put a group of our youngsters in the village
That's right.
to say the things that they'd like to see.
Yeah.
So
And
I just
Leslie's
wanted,
quite proactive and she's into it.
yeah, I
Pushing,
just
so
wanted
she's
to
good.
pass that on.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Can you send me the?
I will, the details, yes. So, Richard, I'm afraid we're going to ask you to leave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Could I have a favour, Claire, probably, because Maggie can't walk.
I'm going to help as well.
If you could grab the microphones and just shout
Yeah.
outside.
We'll do it together.